Ladies and gentlemen, I came here today to tell you something that will change your life. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. You don't need another breakthrough. You need to learn how to break through. Your words have power. Every time you open your mouth, you are planting a seed. The question is, what are you planting? Are you speaking life or are you speaking limitation? Are you declaring victory or are you digging your own defeat? Words are not just sounds or symbols. They are creative forces that shape the reality around us. Everything that exists in the physical realm was first spoken into existence. Before there was light, there was a command, let there be light. Before mountains stood tall, before oceans roared, before the stars were flung into the heavens, there was a word. This truth is not just spiritual, it is universal. What you speak has the power to shape what you see. From the moment you wake up, your words are molding your day. You either speak life or you speak limitation. You either build yourself up or tear yourself down. How many times have you spoken words of doubt over your own life? How often have you declared that something is impossible before even trying? Some people wonder why they feel stuck, why doors seem to close, why they can't seem to get ahead, but they fail to recognize the power of their own tongue. Your words set the atmosphere. When you walk into a room, when you step into a situation, your words are like seeds being scattered into the ground of your life. And let me tell you something, you will eat the fruit of what you plant. If you are constantly speaking words of defeat, don't be surprised when you find yourself living in defeat. If you constantly speak words of discouragement, don't be shocked when life feels discouraging. Your words direct your path the way a rudder steers a ship. And you wonder why life keeps reinforcing these beliefs. What you consistently say, you begin to believe. What you believe, you begin to expect. What you expect, you begin to act upon. And what you act upon creates the results you see in your life. Some of you don't even realize that you are prophesying your own failure. The words coming out of your mouth are binding your own destiny. You have been speaking against yourself, limiting yourself, cursing yourself without even realizing. And then you wonder why breakthrough seems so far away. But let me tell you, just as words can tear down, words can build up. Just as they can limit, they can also liberate. Just as they can curse, they can bless. What would happen if you change the words you speak? What would happen if instead of saying, I'll never make it, you started saying, I am more than capable and I will succeed? Instead of saying, I always fail, you started saying, I am learning and growing every day. Instead of saying, I am stuck, you started saying, doors are opening for me and I am walking into new opportunities. Imagine if you spoke life instead of death. Imagine if you spoke faith instead of fear. Imagine if every day you declared favor over your life. If you began speaking health, abundance, wisdom, strength, do you know what would happen? Your mind would begin to shift. Your perspective would change. Your actions would align with what you are speaking. And soon your reality would transform. Think about successful people. Think about those who rise above adversity. They don't go around declaring defeat. They don't wake up saying, I can't do this. They don't start their day by saying, nothing ever works out for me. No, they wake up with a declaration of victory. They command their day. They speak things. Now take a moment and reflect. What kind of world have you been shaping with your words? What kind of future have you been speaking into existence? If your life today is a reflection of what you declared yesterday, then what are you declaring now? Are you speaking life over yourself, your family, your future? Or are you speaking fear, lack, and failure? Dreams are fragile things. They start as whispers in the heart, small and delicate, barely noticeable. They are born in moments of inspiration, in flashes of possibility, and silent prayers. But the moment a dream enters your spirit, it is immediately met with resistance. Fear tries to choke it. Doubt tries to drown it. The opinions of others try to convince you that it was never real in the first place. And in those moments, you have a choice to let the dream wither or to speak life into it. Words are like water to a seed. When you plant a dream in your heart, you must nourish it, protect it, and feed it with the right words. You cannot expect a dream to grow if all you do is speak against it. You cannot expect success if your own mouth is the biggest enemy to your vision. Too many people sabotage their own future by the words they speak. They say things like, and the moment they release these words, they begin to suffocate the very thing they were called to do. It's like trying to build a house while tearing down the foundation at the same time. You cannot move forward when your own mouth is pulling you backward. A dream is not just an idea. It is a living thing inside of you. It requires nourishment. It requires protection. It requires words that build instead of words that break. You must learn to speak life into your dreams, even when no one else does. You must learn to declare success even when you feel like a failure. You must learn to say, I will make it even when circumstances say otherwise, because what you say today will shape the reality you live in tomorrow. Think about the great visionaries of history. Think about the people who changed the world. They were not people who sat quietly and accepted the limitations placed on them. They were people who spoke their dreams into existence. They were people who refused to let their voices be silenced. They were people who declared their future long before anyone else believed in them. There is power in speaking what you want to see before you see it. There is power in declaring your dream even when it feels impossible. Your words are like a force in the unseen realm, shaping the reality that is yet to come. When you say, I am capable, your mind begins to align with that truth. When you say, I will succeed, your spirit begins to rise to the occasion. When you say, nothing can stop me, you begin to walk with an authority that attracts opportunities. But here's the challenge. Speaking life into your dreams requires discipline. It requires you to cancel every negative thought the moment it enters your mind. It requires you to shut down every voice that tries to tell you that you can't. It requires you to drown out fear with faith, doubt with confidence, and hesitation with boldness. Because let's be honest, life will test your dream. You will face rejection. You will face moments when it feels like nothing is happening. You will face obstacles that seem bigger than your ability. And in those moments, you must make a decision. Will you speak life or will you give up? Some people abort their dreams because they listen to the wrong voices. They listen to the critics. They listen to the naysayers. They listen to the voices of fear and failure. And without realizing it, they begin to repeat those words until those words become their reality. They start saying things like, but the ones who make it, the ones who rise above the obstacles are the ones who keep speaking life, even when things look dead. They are the ones who stand in the middle of the storm and declare, I will not be shaken. They are the ones who look at impossible situations and say, I will find a way. They are the ones who refuse to let their own words become a weapon against their destiny. Speaking life into your dreams is not just about positive thinking. It is about commanding your future with your words. It is about aligning your mouth with your purpose. It is about making sure that every word you speak moves you forward instead of holding you back. The tongue is a small part of the body, yet it holds unimaginable power. It has the ability to create or destroy, to lift up or tear down, to bring life or to bring death. The words that flow from your mouth are not just sounds, they are forces shaping the atmosphere around you, dictating the direction of your life and influencing everything you touch. The power of the tongue is greater than most people realize, and those who understand it can use it to transform their lives in ways they never imagined. Words are more than mere expressions. They are seeds planted into the soil of the future. Every time you speak, you are sowing something. And just like a farmer who carefully selects what he plants, you must be intentional about the words you allow to leave your mouth. Because once those words are spoken, they begin to take root. They begin to grow, shaping circumstances, shifting mindsets, and either building up or tearing down the very foundation of your life. Many people do not realize that their current situation is the result of words they have spoken in the past. They have unknowingly trapped themselves in cycles of defeat because their tongue has been working against them rather than for them. They say things like, and then they wonder why their life continues to reflect these very words. What they don't understand is that the tongue is like a rudder on a ship. It steers the course of life. No matter how large the ship, no matter how strong the winds, it is the rudder that determines its direction. Likewise, no matter how many opportunities come your way, no matter how much potential you have, it is your words that decide where you end up. There are people who have lost opportunities because of what they spoke. There are relationships that have been destroyed because of careless words. There are businesses that never took off because the person leading them kept speaking doubt and failure into the atmosphere. The tongue has the ability to shut doors before they even open. It has the power to block blessings before they can even reach you. It can turn potential into dust, all because of the words that were spoken in moments of frustration, fear, or doubt. But just as the tongue can bring destruction, it can also bring breakthrough. The same tongue that can tear down can also build up. The same words that can limit can also liberate. If speaking the wrong words can create problems, then speaking the right words can create solutions. There is power in using the tongue to declare favor, to speak success, to proclaim victory, even in the face of adversity. When you wake up in the morning, your first words matter. The way you speak about yourself, your circumstances, and your future will determine how your day unfolds. If you start your day complaining, speaking negativity, and focusing on everything that is wrong, don't be surprised when the day follows that pattern. But if you start your day with declarations of strength, if you use your tongue to speak faith, to call in blessings, to command your day, then you will begin to see things shift in your favor. People who understand the power of the tongue do not waste words. They do not use their mouth to gossip, complain, or tear others down. They do not engage in negative self-talk or speak fear into their own future. Instead, they are deliberate with their words. They guard their tongue because they know that what they say today will shape what they experience tomorrow. There are people who have walked into rooms and received opportunities simply because they spoke the right words at the right time. There are individuals who have overcome impossible situations because instead of declaring defeat, they spoke victory. There are people who have seen miraculous turnarounds in their lives because they refuse to let their tongue speak doubt, even when everything around them looked hopeless. But here's the challenge. Controlling the tongue is not easy. It is one of the hardest things a person can do. The tongue has a mind of its own. It wants to lash out, to vent frustration, to respond in anger, to speak based on emotions rather than wisdom. It takes discipline to control what you say. It takes self-awareness to pause before you speak. It takes faith to declare things you don't yet see. Because speaking life when everything looks dead is not natural. Declaring favor when you're surrounded by opposition feels unnatural. But that is exactly what makes the power of the tongue so extraordinary. It is not just about describing the present, it is about shaping the future. It is about speaking what is unseen as though it already exists. It is about using your words to create the reality you desire rather than simply accepting the reality you have. The tongue is a weapon, but how you use it determines whether it will be a weapon of destruction or a tool of transformation. It has the ability to tear down walls or to build bridges, to create distance or to establish connection, to set things in motion or to bring things to a halt. Every single word carries weight. Every single declaration has an effect. Some people have built entire empires with nothing but their words. They started with nothing, no resources, no connections, no roadmap, just a conviction and a declaration. They spoke success before they saw it. They spoke influence before they had it. They spoke prosperity before it was in their hands. And because they consistently used their tongue to align with their vision, their reality eventually caught up with their words. The greatest leaders, the most successful individuals, the most influential voices in history, all understood the power of the tongue. They knew that speaking the right words could open doors, shift atmospheres, and bring forth change. They did not allow their mouth to work against them. They did not allow their tongue to become an instrument of self-destruction. They used their words with precision, with intention, with the understanding that everything they spoke was either building their future or tearing it down. Your words are the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. What you confess, you will eventually possess. This is not just a motivational phrase. It is a principle that governs life. Everything that manifests in your reality first takes root in your mind, and it is your confession that brings it to life. Your words are not empty, they are seeds, and every time you speak, you are planting something in the soil of your future. Many people underestimate the power of their confession. They think words are just expressions of how they feel in the moment, not realizing that their words are shaping their destiny. If you continually confess defeat, don't be surprised when you experience defeat. If you constantly confess lack, don't be shocked when you struggle to make ends meet. If you keep confessing fear, don't wonder why you're always paralyzed by anxiety. What comes out of your mouth is what will take root in your life. Look at the people who constantly say, I'm always broke, or I can't catch a break, or nothing ever works out for me. It's no coincidence that they remain in the same cycles year after year. Their confession is reinforcing their condition. Their words are building barriers instead of bridges. They have unknowingly placed themselves in a prison, locking the doors with the very words they speak every day. But the good news is that if negative confessions can keep you stuck, then positive confessions can set you free. If the wrong words can hold you back, then the right words can push you forward. If doubt can delay you, then faith can accelerate you. Your confession can open doors, shift atmospheres, and turn impossibility. The moment you begin to speak differently, you will begin to see differently. The moment you begin to see differently, you will begin to act differently. And when your actions align with your confession, your reality begins to transform. Think about the people who rise above adversity. They don't sit around confessing defeat. They don't spend their time talking about everything that's wrong. No, they speak victory even when they're in the middle of a storm. They speak abundance even when their bank account is empty. They speak healing even when their body is in pain. They speak opportunity even when doors seem closed, because they understand that what they confess today, they will possess tomorrow. Your words set the tone for your future. Every time you declare something over your life, you are giving it permission to take root. When you wake up in the morning and say, today will be a great day, you are setting the atmosphere. When you say, I am walking into favor, you are preparing yourself to recognize opportunities. When you declare, I am healthy, strong, and full of energy, your body begins to align with that truth. But here's the challenge. Confessing the right things is not always easy, because life will test your words. You will have days when it feels like nothing is changing. You will have moments when circumstances try to contradict your confession. You will be tempted to speak based on what you see rather than what you believe. But that is when you must hold on to your confession the most. That is when you must keep speaking life, even when everything around you looks dead. There are people who have built entire empires simply because they refuse to speak failure. They started with nothing, no resources, no connections, no roadmap, but they had a confession. They kept saying, I will succeed. They kept declaring, I am capable. They kept confessing, opportunities are coming my way. And because they consistently spoke the right words, the reality began to shift. But then there are others who had every opportunity, every resource, every advantage, and yet they failed because of their own confession. They talked themselves out of success before they even tried. They confessed defeat before they ever faced a battle. They spoke failure before they ever took the first step, and as a result, they remained exactly where they started. Confession is not about ignoring reality. It is about speaking the truth of where you are going rather than being limited by where you are. It is about aligning your words with the future you desire rather than the circumstances you are currently in. It is about training your tongue to speak what you want to see, not just what you see right now. When you confess greatness, you attract greatness. When you confess favor, you make room for favor to flow into your life. But when you confess failure, you unknowingly invite failure to take root. Some people don't realize that they have been cursing their own destiny with their words. They spend more time talking about their problems than declaring their solutions. They spend more time confessing fear than confessing faith. They spend more time speaking about what they lack rather than what they are believing for. And they wonder why life continues to reinforce the very things they don't want. But the moment you shift your confession, you will shift your life. The moment you start speaking differently, you will start living differently. The moment you start aligning your words with the vision you have for your future, you will begin to see things change. Your confession is a declaration of faith. It is a statement of expectation. It is a command to the atmosphere around you. When you declare, I am strong, you are commanding strength to rise up in you. When you say, I am blessed, you are making room for blessings to flow. When you say, doors are opening for me, you are activating favor in your life. There are countless stories of people who have experienced breakthroughs simply by changing their confession. They went from struggling to thriving, from sickness to health, from barely surviving to living in abundance, all because they refused to let their tongue work against them. They spoke life even in dark seasons. They declared victory even in the face of obstacles. They held on to their confession until it became their reality. Your words are powerful. What you confess, you will possess. If you don't like what you see in your life, start by changing what you say. Speak in alignment with your vision. Declare what you want to see. Command your future with your words, because the words you release today are shaping the world you will walk into tomorrow. Words are powerful, but words without belief are empty. You can say all the right things. You can declare success. You can speak victory. You can confess abundance, but if deep down you don't believe it, your words will have no power. It is not just about speaking. It is about speaking with conviction. It is not just about declaring. It is about believing in what you declare. Because what you truly believe will shape your actions, your mindset, and ultimately your reality. Too many people speak things They don't truly believe. They say, I will be successful, but in their hearts they are filled with doubt. They declare, I am blessed, but in their minds they are still holding on to fear. They say, doors will open for me, but in their spirit they are preparing for disappointment. And that is why they don't see the results they are hoping for. Because it is not enough to just say it, you have to believe it. Belief is the fuel behind every powerful declaration. When you believe what you speak, you activate something in the spiritual realm. You shift your energy. You align yourself with the reality you are declaring. You begin to carry yourself differently. You begin to think differently. You begin to move differently. Because when belief takes root in your heart, it changes everything. There are people who repeat affirmations every day but see no change in their lives because deep down, they do not believe what they are saying. They go through the motions of positive thinking, but their hearts are still filled with doubt. They speak the words, but their actions do not align. They say, I am going to be successful, but they never take the steps necessary to walk in that success. They say, I am healed, but they continue to live as if they are defeated by sickness. They say opportunities are coming my way, but they do not prepare themselves to receive them. The reason belief is so important is that your mind and body will always follow what you truly believe, not just what you say. If you say, I am confident, but in your heart you believe you are inadequate, your actions will reflect insecurity. If you say, I am financially blessed, but in your mind you believe you will always struggle, you will continue to make decisions that keep you in lack. If you say, I am walking in favor, but you are constantly expecting failure, you will unconsciously sabotage your own blessings. What you believe becomes your reality. It shapes the way you respond to opportunities. It influences the way you interact with people. It determines the risks you take and the doors you walk through. Belief is the difference between someone who speaks success and actually achieves it, and someone who speaks success but never experiences it. Look at the people who have accomplished great things. They didn't just say they were going to be successful, they believed it so deeply that they acted as if success was inevitable. They didn't just say they would overcome obstacles, they believed they had the strength to push through. They didn't just say they were worthy of opportunities, they believed they deserved every open door that came their way. When you believe in what you say, you create a force of alignment. Your words, thoughts, and actions all begin to work together. Your mind starts looking for opportunities instead of excuses. Your spirit starts expecting favor instead of fear. Your posture shifts, your energy changes, and the world around you begins to respond to your belief. Belief is what gives power to your words. A person who speaks with belief carries an authority that cannot be ignored. You can hear it in their voice. You can see it in their confidence. You can feel it in their presence. They don't just say things because they sound good. They say them because they know deep in their core that those words are already a reality. But the challenge is that belief does not come automatically. It must be built. It must be developed. It must be reinforced every single day. You must train your mind to reject doubt and embrace faith. You must shut down negative thoughts before they take root. You must surround yourself with voices that strengthen your belief rather than weaken it, because life will test your belief. You will face moments that make you question everything you've been speaking. You will experience setbacks that try to convince you that your words were just wishful thinking. You will have days when it feels like nothing is changing. And in those moments, the difference between those who succeed and those who give up is belief.